We have on my man, Mr. Nick Haider, who is the founder of Team Hitter, a business enterprise focused on helping entrepreneurs drive growth. And he's here to share his wisdom on the Happy Hustle podcast. We are going to be diving in.
Do you want blissful balance in your personal and professional life? Great. What's up, guys? My name is Kerry Jack, and I want to help you happy hustle a life you love, one full of passion, purpose, and positive impact. I'm a lifestyle entrepreneur, a professional model / actor, a digital marketing specialist, a podcast host, author, a biohacker, an eco-warrior, a martial artist, a hippie cowboy, and a humanitarian. My goal is to educate, inspire, and entertain you to live a life of passion, purpose, and positive impact. It is time to happy hustle your dream reality.
Yee-yee. All right, my man, Mr. Nick Haider. Welcome to the Happy Hustle podcast, brother. I'm super stoked to rock the mic with you.
Brother, it's an honor and a pleasure, and especially get to hang out with somebody like you in a show like this. Man, this is big time, baby. I'm ready.
Well, man, you are a happy hustler, so let's call it what it is. You know, you're a serial entrepreneur. You are the host of the Hitstreak Podcast. You've been featured on all sorts of media outlets, from CBS to NBC to Fox to New York Times. I mean, but you've also generated over $100 million in businesses in the insurance game. You're in the process of a merger and acquisition right now with Brad Lee and his company and the merchant payment processing, in which I'm super excited to get into, you know, mergers, acquisitions, affiliate partnerships, and really just your journey as an entrepreneur and as a happy hustler, because you're also a husband, you're a father to 2 beautiful kids, and a former pro athlete. Used to play baseball, right? A lot to unpack here, man. This is a pretty cool backstory. But before we get into all that good stuff, Nick, what's something interesting about yourself that not too many people know?
All right, so it's not something that gets talked about a lot. Everybody knows that my son is quite the accomplished musician, and when I was in college, I was actually on a dual scholarship for baseball and for music. I was also a drummer and made a few bucks doing that from time to time. And I also had residencies in some of Nashville's top nightclubs as a DJ for about 10 years.
Okay. What was your DJ handle?
How's that for you?
That was good. What was your DJ name?
DJ Swayze.
Oh, I like it. Okay. I didn't know your son is an accomplished musician. What's he do? He's singer?
He's a singer, a guitar player, and a drummer. And at 11 years old, he actually auditioned and got cast as a lead in a Broadway musical, the School of Rock musical. That was a Broadway show. And so, yeah, man, he's hustling. And now that he got his braces off this year, he's reshopping for a new agent.
Okay. Hey, any agents out there? You know where to find some talent. Let's go. I love it, man. Well, let's dive right in. I mean, a lot of entrepreneurs and aspiring entrepreneurs listen to this show, and they really, you know, want to achieve that financial freedom. Actually, the 3 freedoms, right? Creative freedom, financial freedom, and time freedom, right? The freedoms that, you know, I think everyone can identify with desiring, right? And I know you've achieved this largely. I mean, you still at times, I'm sure, are trading time for money in some capacity, but for the most part, you've achieved it. And I'm curious, just when you pull back the curtain and you're looking at the current state of Nick, I know you got some big things happening right now. Give us just a snapshot of a day in the life of Nick Haider right now.
Well, you know, obviously the day starts the night before, for sure. So understanding what needs to happen the next day. And then I serve a lot of people. There's a lot of people that I work with, a lot of team leads, a lot of team members. And outside from understanding what I got to accomplish that day, I need to make sure that they have everything that they need, that they have, or that they need to do what they need to do for the day to win. And you know, so it's a lot of development. It's a lot of I wouldn't say it's a lot of meetings. It's just it's a lot of time. I love those people. We're working together. We're building some great things. And if I'm their leader, then I got to lead, right? So
Yeah.
that's kind of how it all starts. It also starts out with about a 3-mile walk where I usually do a lot of self-reflection, or even just return some early morning calls, and a workout with my boy, where we hit the gym 5 or 6 days a week, and depending on what season we're in with his baseball season, and then we just go. And I don't really have a real set schedule. I know we're great about understanding how much time to spend with family and kids. My wife is my business partner, so I spend a lot of time with her at work too.
Nice.
So, it's and I treat my teammates the same way I treat my family. What do they need to have the best day in their journey today? And again, if I'm their leader, it's my job to lead, right? So it's just knowing where to spend time, who needs to be pumped up, who needs to be maybe not let down, but maybe coddled to a certain degree a little bit to get them to get fired back up and go. The greater things you're chasing, there's just more bumps in the road. And when you understand that, those are the gifts at the end of the day. The challenges are the gifts,
Yeah. Well said. And the happy hustle really is all about the systematic harmonization of ambition and well-being, right? Systematically harmonizing, right? Balancing the ambition that we all have, but also the well-being that we need to prioritize. And I feel like you do a good job of that, and I'm sure there's days where maybe it's a little out of balance, right? But is there anything specific that you do to essentially maintain that homeostasis between that personal and professional life?
Yeah, man. It's I'll go back to what I did learn. One of the things I learned in sports. So a pitcher or even a hitter is going to go through the same routine to prepare to get game ready, day in and day out, right? They find out what works for them, what gets them mentally and physically in the state where they're ready to play, they're ready to go to battle. And I kind of like, when life wasn't great, I wasn't doing that. I wasn't taking something that I'd learned in a previous career and applying it to that. And it was actually, it was 2015, and we had almost figured it out. Like, we always knew how to find revenue, to make revenue, but we didn't understand how to manage that revenue, how to pay ourselves and things like that. And so we knew that we had some financial literacy knowledge that we needed to chase and learn. But we also learned that we weren't very systematic with how we built things, especially our day, how we spent our time. So in 2015, I read a book called Think and Grow Rich. And then there was a secondary book to that was called The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. It was written 100 years ago. As a matter of fact, it's an audiobook. It's 45 minutes long. It's one of the worst listens ever because it's recorded 100 years ago. But the knowledge in that book was incredible. And there's an exercise in that book where they basically say, get an index card and write 10 of the easiest goals that you can do every single day for 30 days. So, and write it on an index card and, complete it for 30 days. So one of the things that we learned to do was, one, write it down, and we left it on our nightstand. So it was the first thing we see when we woke up and the last thing we saw before we went to bed. But Carrie, it was the 16th time that my wife and I had to rip up that card and start over that we realized that we were the problem. We were the problem. First of all, we didn't understand how to set accurate goals to what it is we were trying to accomplish. It said the easiest things that we can do 30 days in a row. So instead of just saying drink a drop of water, I was like, dude, I'm gonna drink 2 gallons. I'm gonna work out 2 hours. We made goals of this dream life, this dream hustle that quite frankly was impossible. And we weren't, it would be like, hey, I'm gonna put my son into school. We're just gonna skip kindergarten through 8th grade and just drop him right into high school. That was basically what we had tried to do. But again, it took 16 times of understanding that it wasn't that we weren't prepared to do and commit to what was on that card. It was the goals on the card weren't right. That was the first thing that we learned is we need to learn how to set actual goals that applied to the task at hand or whatever it was we were trying to accomplish or wanting to accomplish. And then from there, it goes to the commitment. The first thing we realized we could do for number one is when you first wake up, be grateful that you woke up. That was 1 out of the 10. The 10th out of 10 was, read the card and make sure we did everything that we were supposed to do that day. So literally like 2 out of the 10 things were just like, read the card.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that from then on out, we started making money. We started having more time. We started finding balance, and our relationship grew, because then it was almost like we went from going 2 separate ways to like, now we're on the same path together,
Yeah. Ooh. I mean, that's some gold right there. And you just have to break it down into those micro goals that ultimately will help you achieve that macro goal, right? It's reverse engineering the process. But you did mention financial literacy, and I want to go back to that because I can just look at my own journey, like early on, especially, coming out of college. I played soccer in college. I thought I was going to play pro, blew out my knee. We talked about my story a bit on your podcast, the Hitstreak, which great episode. Nick is a phenomenal host. You guys got to check out that show. But the thing that really was big for me is like educating myself, getting that financial literacy, because, prior to, I was, in like 16K credit card debt. I had, some student loans. Like, I think like, I was like 21 or something, 20, I racked up a credit card bill, like 16K. And like I had, I had a majority soccer scholarship, but I did have, some stuff for school to pay for. And when I read, I was like, I got to take this financial literacy thing seriously. And I was really dedicated myself. And within not even 12 months, I had 20K in the bank and no debt. And it was like that quick, because I just educated myself. I learned, okay, what's the difference between a stock and a bond? What is an APR on my credit card? It's like that kind of stuff. We spend all this time scrolling IG or TikTok and looking at, garbage, really. And when all this information on financial literacy is readily available. Now, I'm no financial guru, but I am curious for you, what, if any, were the 3 biggest things that you had to rewire in your brain when it came to educating yourself on financial literacy?
Well, the first thing I had to do was like map out to myself what a professional of finance was and what they knew. So like in the world of baseball, and again, it's things that I learned that I didn't understand how to apply until later. And that was where a lot of the magic has come from. So, in high school, I was a great player in high school. And then I got to college and I realized that, man, I learned so much in college that I didn't know in high school. And then that gap happened again at the professional level. So if I think about it, like, where was I at in that journey as far as finance goes? And I wasn't even a good high school player in finance in my 20s. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And and again, the people that I'm competing against were at the major league level of finance, which means they know a whole lot more than I do. They understand it. They know how to get results quicker, faster, better, more efficient. You know what I mean? All that kind of stuff. So it was really just understanding where I was at in our journey of learning finance and where we needed to be to win. You know what I mean? So that was number one. The second thing is like, you hear about all these words, debt. I always thought that, debt was bad. I didn't know that there could be good debt, depending on where you're at, what your portfolio looks like. And the third biggest thing, the second one was understanding the language of finance. And the third was understanding how people actually make their money and how you scale it. And that was where I really got introduced to affiliate marketing. It produces cash flow, basically for people to have access to your network or you're a partner of somebody, right? So that's been the biggest thing. And 2022 was the first year my wife and I made as much money not working as we did working.
Oh, I like that, man. Now, and those are great bullets. I do want to hit on that third one again, because, affiliate marketing, that's something I've been doing for, 10 years, give or take. I mean, we, at the Happy Hustle have many affiliates, but prior to my other companies, we made a significant portion of revenue from affiliate marketing. I'm curious if you had to define it, and for someone who maybe isn't familiar with the term, even break it down in layman's terms.
So the way that I first understood it at ground level was like, there was a movie in the 90s that everybody would remember, starring Jim Carrey, called Ace Ventura. And one of the big things in that movie was Dan Marino was a focal point in that movie, and he was a spokesman for Isotoner gloves, right? So he shot Isotoner gloves commercial. Now, what does a football player in Miami have to do with gloves for wintertime? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Right. But again, he had a huge fan base, and they were trying to get to a new audience, and Dan Marino had an audience that wasn't theirs. That's how I started to understand affiliate marketing a little bit, is like, I've got an audience and it's growing. Well, there's brands out there that believe their product is suited for my audience, and they need an introduction. And that's kind of like, for me, that's where affiliate marketing that's how we defined it in the beginning. And that, what that looked like was, sponsorships on the podcast, or ad sales on the podcast. It was getting paid to go visit places and record the process, or record the experience, and put it out with our review of it or whatever. The last two businesses that we have launched, a big part of our new client acquisition is through affiliate partnerships. Again, like, we can spend a whole bunch of money on ads and going out there and targeting an audience, or I can just find the people that already have access to our audience, and their audience trusts those people.
Yep.
And we work out a deal that works for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. In that last piece, creating those win-win partnerships, especially when they're aligned, that's some of the most lucrative and rewarding deals that I've done. When I, find a brand that aligns, or another business owner, and we could be like, hey, you got this thing going, I got this thing going, let's merge them together and like share in the win. I look at those kind of deals, and I honestly, those are my favorite type of business transactions. One thing that I do with the Happy Hustle that I don't see a lot of people talk about is hybrid partnerships. And, it's a mix between the sponsorship and an affiliate deal. And I'll break it down for you because I feel like you'd appreciate it, and maybe the listeners will too.
Yeah.
Basically, I'll get, paid a monthly retainer, the Happy Hustle, right? We'll get paid a monthly retainer. And then that is essentially X for Y. So X deliverables for Y retainer, right? Or income. Then once we hit that threshold in revenue for that company, then we'll get a percentage of sales. It kicks into an affiliate partnership. So they get their ROI. Now I am still incentivized to promote said product or service because I still share in the win. Like it might be a 30%, 20%, 15% payout on top. So this is something, because I do see there was a flaw in the model with just a sponsorship. You do the bare minimum as a sponsored person, technically. You do, hey, here's, you need 5 posts, you're paying me 10 grand, I'll do 5 posts. Now, if I was getting 30% of sales on top of everything that I sold after a certain threshold, I would continue to promote. Have you ever structured any unique creative deals in terms of partnerships that maybe, we could learn from?
We have, honestly, we've had similar things in place, like you just said. I think that's the newest, best version of what we're doing right now, because again, it keeps people engaged and incentivized long term, which that's one of the, the best partnerships are the ones that you've had the longest. You know what I mean? So it's a way to, when you understand that, it's a way to chase that. So I think you're all over it. I think that's the next generation. I think that is, at the end of the day, going to be like the new model. So to speak. So I freaking love that, man. That's better than the last couple that we've struck. I like it.
I'll send you the agreement, man. I'm not holding back. We just did a 50K partnership deal with this same model, and it's working out swimmingly. Super pumped on it. And it's just, I think it's all about incentivizing the win-win. That's really the core takeaway. And speaking of win-win, I know you have a big win-win that I'm excited to talk about with you and Brad Lee. Talk to us about this merger.
Well, we've been working on in the world of merchant processing for about 1.5 years. And we have had a great experience with that. We've done some really cool stuff internationally, which is we're really proud of, especially there's some stuff going on out in Brazil. And but there was we have a pretty significant sized field force of agents and affiliates. And if you know anything about Brad Lee, you know, when it comes to training people, you know, he's got the best system on planet Earth and light speed. And it's just, anytime you can be involved with a guy like that, the relationship is a total asset in just about anything you're going to do. And it just, you know, it took a little while to get there, but once we got the agreement in place, it just made a lot of sense. Basically, like, it's just going to make our field force that's great even better, because now they've just got more tools, more support, and more ongoing support, right? So they already had a great BT system in place for their field and whatnot, and it makes a whole lot of sense. So so our field force is partnering with Brad's company called Real Merchant Services, and 2024 is going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited, and again, if that's something that people want to be an agent or affiliate of, got a link that we can put in the show notes. It's all over my link tree and my website and anything else. But yeah, man, it's super simple.
Yeah. And break down that opportunity a little further. Like, what are people promoting / selling exactly? Just so, because I'm sure there are people interested, and you know, this is a pretty cool opportunity. Just break it down a little further, just so people understand exactly.
Absolutely. So anytime you're trading a currency other than cash, right? So if it's digital money, then you're not physically handing the person you're buying something from anything. You know, there's no hard product. It's something that's coming from bank to bank, and there's a middle person called a processor, right? That has agreements with those banks and Visa, MasterCard, Amex, and all that such. And those companies get paid to process those transactions, right? So on a small scale, people probably know Cash App or Venmo, and they're like, well, those are free. And I'm like, yes, until you hit a certain amount of money, right? And then you have to pay for those transactions. And that's kind of how they get you in their funnels. So when you're, you know, like all businesses, everybody would a lot of people have heard of Square or Stripe or some of those other companies. Like, look, man, if it's just like anything else. You want custom is always better than, like, you know, not custom. You know what I mean? A off the rack suit is not going to be as nice as a custom suit. It's not going to fit as good. Yeah. So when it comes to how your business processes their transactions, you want a custom outfit specific for your business, right? And there are certain banks, just like in the world of insurance, there's certain carriers that are tailored for certain types of customer, right? So they have an actual avatar that is their client. Well, in the world of merchant processing, those businesses are actually the same.
Whoa. Apologies for interrupting your programming, but I have to tell you, the best investment you can make in yourself is one in which helps you acquire skills. You've probably heard people talk about, oh, just invest in yourself and you'll be successful. Yes, that's true to a degree, but you have to invest in skills that will ultimately help you achieve your desired results. And I think one of the best skills one can possess, be it an entrepreneur or an aspiring entrepreneur, is the sales sword. Really knowing how to sell, utilizing pressure-free persuasion, which will make you more money and more impact. Now, if you want to know how to sell more efficiently and effectively, I just launched a sales course called The Proven Roadmap Process to Selling Millions of Dollars and helping you to increase your conversions, guaranteed. And you can get access to this new sales course that The Happy Hustle is launching at thehappyhustle.com/sales. And if you act fast, you'll get it at the lowest price it'll ever be available, because we are launching it and we want to gain amazing testimonials and social proof to further share this knowledge. So if you act fast, you can get it at the lowest price it'll ever be. That's at thehappyhustle.com/sales. Now let's get back to this episode.
And I'll tell you, I didn't understand that for a long time. There was always these fees that we were paying. We never really liked. We didn't understand the options that we had. It's kind of like when you get your first job as a teenager or a young adult as a W-2, and they're like, you know, what are you going to claim on your taxes? And you can select 0 to like 9, right? And I didn't know that based on what you select, it changed what they pulled out of your paycheck. I just did what am I, 0 or 1? Okay, cool, and went on about it, and then griped about how much they took out of the out of my check. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So again, you just got to understand what you got to understand. If you don't know anything about it, you need to talk to somebody with our company that does, and we handle that for you.
Yeah. I mean, it really is significant when you are starting to scale and you have a 3% fee every single transaction. Like that adds
Yeah,
up, right? And that's pretty
absolutely.
standard, right? I mean, a 3% is that, but you guys basically can custom create it so it's less. Is
Oh
that
yeah.
essentially? Yeah.
Absolutely. And businesses are underwritten based on risk, right? So again, where does the most fraud happen? Well, card not present, right? There's a lot of transactions where the card is not present when there's no swipe, right? It's something purchased online. Like, not that iTunes is a high risk, but you don't physically have a credit card. It's on file and
Yeah.
it goes, right? So, the amount of disputed charges on a company, right? So timeshare is a big one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something came out and they disputed it. So all those things cause more work and more things that have to be more people that have to be involved from the banks and so on and so forth. So those businesses are actually underwritten, and there's certain banks that are strategically best custom fit to serve certain other businesses, right? Based on their business model and all of their agreements in place, right? So just like with it, I result back or I revert back to a lot of things involving insurance because we did it for so long and still do it today. And again, me, I'm 43, pretty healthy, and so I would be somebody that's not high risk for an insurance company. However, if I had high blood pressure or I had bad habits, nutrition wise, or smoked or high blood pressure and things like that, then my rates would go up a little bit. In car insurance, if I'd had a lot of wrecks and gotten a lot of speeding tickets, my insurance would go up. Right? It's so that's the best way that I know to explain it.
Yeah. No, and it makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's based on your risk. And if you're not, um, going custom, you're basically you're paying extra because they're just generically assessing risk, right? They're not actually looking at your business and the history, right?
Yeah, even the amount of transactions, because the more transactions there are, the more risk there is, So,
Mhm.
even the amount of transactions comes into play. So, it's just like anything else. Like, when it comes to, like, I don't do my own taxes. I have somebody that's an expert at that, right?
Yeah.
I hired that person. They were vetted out. I love that person. They take care of us. I trust that person, right?
Yeah.
So when it came to, like, and even in health insurance before we got into it, I didn't know anything, and I needed somebody that I could trust that would put us in the best place for future success if anything happened. Man, when it comes to structuring your bank, folks, or your business, you go into business to generate revenue, right? Well,
Yeah.
you want to make sure that that revenue is, one, protected, but two, that there's not money going out the door that's unnecessary.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is definitely even just eye-opening for myself. I'm gonna have to talk to you after this. Just because I'm like, all right, I
Oh,
want a custom quote. I want a custom
look,
get my stuff
dude,
going.
the worst thing that can happen is, like, some people are in a great situation. Maybe they're
Yeah.
grandfathered in or something like that, and they don't need, but they don't know. So, like, the worst thing that can happen is we're looking at what your like 3 months of merchant statements on the fees you've paid, the fees your customers have paid, and all those things, and we can be like, bro, like, you're in great shape. Like, stay right there. That's the worst
Yeah.
thing that'll happen is we tell you you're in the best spot you can be right now.
Yeah.
So people have the consultations that we provide, and the proposals we don't charge for those, right? So if we don't deliver, we don't get paid. That's the way it should be.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you got nothing to lose. All the happy hustlers out there, everything to gain on this. So,
That's
and this
that's
is,
correct.
yeah, this is, this is something that I really like to highlight. One decision has the compound effect of potentially for the life of your business, positive effect, right? Like, and obviously I
Absolutely.
kind of butchered how I said that, but regardless, you get the point, right? It's like,
I
you,
do.
you make one decision. It's just like when you automate your savings, it's like, hey, I'm gonna withdraw $1,000 from my account every month and just it's gonna get socked away in savings. Like that's one decision that has a positive compound effect
Yeah.
for eternity until you stop that automation. Can you think of any other automations in your life or any other positive decisions that have that similar compound effect?
Well, absolutely. And I was actually yesterday, I was having a conversation with Brad about the process and stuff. And here was his take on it. And it's brilliant because he's like, the average person, he's like, I'm telling everybody, if I'm your friend, then, give me a chance to earn your business when it comes to processing. He was like, why would you not? If you're my friend, you don't even know who's processing your money, right? So like, you don't know who it is. So why are you so hesitant? If we're friends and you trust me, then why would you not want me doing that for you than somebody else? Because I'm going to take better care of you. You're just a number to those people. And I was like, man, it's brilliant. It's perfect. It's perfectly said. I agree with it 100%. But as far as automations go, so the question was, what are other automations that's working right now?
Yeah.
So obviously, if you don't have all the way down to like the kindergarten level, we've been totally rebranding all of our automated emails and a lot of our automated communications, especially for my podcast and such.
Yeah.
There's always better ways to do it. If we're not getting the engagement of those that we like, we're always trying new things. But man, no, it's the biggest thing right now is quality content on your social, because it runs 24/7. The more engagement you get, the longer those posts live. You can rerun them. You can post them again, your top ones. You can target audiences based on the performance organically of those things. The content out there is getting really good. The quality, the production, the effects, the animations, it's really getting good, and it's impressive, and it makes it easy to watch. If it's not pretty, it's hard to watch, but like it's such a dramatic impact that it's had just over like the last year with how many people are getting good through AI and everything else. AI is another big thing. Some people are scared of it, especially if you're my age and above.
Yeah.
But like it does it can do so many good things for you. And if you're using it as a supplement rather than a replacement for something that you do great, I think it can only help you. So AI, social media, real or high quality content or social media, especially video. And then, man, all the automated emails and things you got going out, how great are those systems working for you cosmetically? What do they look like? I feel like 2024 is going to be a big year for where the best production truly stands out and wins.
You're not wrong. And I really like that list that I know I just put you on the spot there with those automations, but you crushed it. The email game is like, the email game is it's like so underutilized. And even myself, I know, like when and we get, we're getting 35% open rates right now, which is, I think pretty good in terms of the standard.
Yeah.
But it's like, then I look at my click-through rate. I'm like, okay, well, that needs to be higher. It's not where I know it could be, so it's like, obviously that tells me the headline's working, but the copy isn't, right? So it's like, we need to figure out stuff. So it's all about feedback, automating your business and also your personal life, so that, you are growing, evolving, using AI. I do think, in terms of social media, like I will say, dude, your content is fuego. I know your production team puts a lot of effort into it, and it shows. And I look at my stuff, I'm like, this ain't it, so it's like stuff I need to do with my own team. We have, it is, people's attention is the most valuable currency right now. And you need to capture it. What are you doing with your social?
Attention's everything.
Yeah. What specifically to capture? Like, what's your content framework when you're putting out a piece? Are you doing, I know Hormozy talks about like hook, retain, reward. Do you have anything in your background when you're creating content that you're thinking, in terms of framework?
So the first thing is I refer to the reputation formula that we got from Brand Builders Group.
Yep.
And which is your reputation equals your results times your reach, right? Yeah. So basically, how many people know how good you are at whatever it is that you do. We kind of start there, and then there's another formula that I like. I love Frank Kern. If people aren't familiar with Frank Kern,
I met him.
I feel like, oh, dude.
He's good.
You met him. I haven't met him yet.
Trafficking Conversion. He hangs around there.
Oh man.
At that summit.
I feel like that guy's one of the godfathers of digital marketing,
He is.
And he has a formula that he talks about. which is basically, he says, your content. And these go right along with the results we're getting. So we're seeing that before people buy, it takes an average of 22 to 24 days of being touched 32 times. So you got to touch them on any platform 32 times over 22 to 24 days before they click to become a customer, click to buy, or become a lead, right?
Wow.
Which means now, so like the older folks might say, you mean I got to email them 32 times? No, a Facebook post, an Instagram post, a YouTube clip, a podcast appearance, a podcast episode, an email, all those things are touches. But Frank says, in those ads, they're basically providing goodwill through those ads, some quality information with some filled with soft offers, and they do it a lot. So basically the formula is goodwill plus offers times frequency equals money.
Say that again.
And that's kind of so goodwill plus offers times frequency equals money. And one of the easiest ways to do that, Carrie, is when you run your video, you run your little ad or whatever it is, at the end, you can maybe like, hey, if that interests you and it's something you like, you heard what you liked, come on down and see us and let's talk about it. It's a soft little offer right there. That's not invasive, but if you do that enough times, when you invite somebody over enough times, eventually I think they say yes,
Yeah. Dude, that's gold. I mean, it's something like, you don't want to be spammy or, snake oil salesy or any of that with your content. You need to realize your content is a tool to build trust. And that's really what you're talking about, building trust through those touch points. It's mind blowing to me, even business owners who have no social presence whatsoever, and they think that's an effective strategy this day and age. It's like people, first thing they do is Google you, like that's like, they're gonna click on your Instagram. Like I feel like that is just a go-to. It's like a buyer behavior now. I'm going to look at the Google reviews. I'm going to look at your Amazon reviews if you have an e-com platform, or I'm going to look at your Instagram or your social media presence. And they're going to make it an assumption based off of those factors. Now, unfortunately, some of it is just vanity metrics, right? And we know lots of people who probably just buy followers and buy likes. And I feel like people can even tell nowadays. It's like,
sure,
that doesn't really look legit. Like, but I do think the quality content consistently put out, it drives revenue, and it drives that trust to ultimately create, new customers. For you specifically, what's your ratio? I mean, are you putting in a soft pitch every piece of content? Are you doing, Gary V's like jab, 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 hook or whatever? Like, what's your ratio in terms of like value delivered? And obviously, even when you make a soft pitch, you're still delivering value. But what's your, if you have a ratio to, value to essentially pitch?
So what we did to start is because I'm putting out this content, not for me, for everybody else. Right. But we made some mistakes early where we were like, we don't want to be too upfront with the offers, which that's a big mistake, folks. You don't get to sell you don't ask for. Okay. If you want to do business, you got to ask them.
Facts.
All right. So we started out with just footers, little things, little graphics or animations that we put out. Just, hey man, subscribe for more. That's on every clip. And then one of the things that we're doing now is literally like at the end of the clip, instead of that subscribe for more, it's me. What the graphic or animation said, it's me actually saying it. So we were testing some things out, and we were also figuring out what works, and we wanted to show an evolution. I do believe the evolution of growth that people can see is really important, telling that it's in storytelling. But like, Carrie, I've had 4 people just in the last 5 days that I met with, that I'd met for the first time. And all 4 of them said, I feel like I know you. Just from the content.
Yep.
Just from the content. And I feel like that about other people that
Yeah.
I keep up with and that I follow. I feel like I know these people already, and
Yeah.
I've never even shook their hand or met them face to face or even had a conversation with them. That's how powerful this is. People buy from people they trust. You earn trust through time, through experience, through relationships with those people, right? So
Yeah.
social media gives you an opportunity, if it's good, if your content is good, and folks, like, make no mistake about it, that's your digital storefront. So if your business, like if your restaurant is 5-star and top notch, but your digital content you're putting out is not 5-star, that's a direct conflict with your brand, and it's going to hurt you.
Yeah.
Right. So whatever it is that you do, if you're great at it, your content needs to be great. And if your content's better than you are at it, it's only going to help you, you know?
Sage wisdom right there, my man. So true. It really is. And, it is like, it is a burden at times. I'm not gonna lie. Like creating content, like you probably will admit it too. Like it's work,
Oh
it
yeah.
is, it's not like, oh, I just throw up something and it's gonna build trust. No, it'll actually break trust if it's not quality, it's not thought through, and you might not ever get that click again or that person's engagement. Like, so you have to think through it, and that's the game these days. It's a little bit like the hamster wheel cycle, which is
Yeah.
why you have to have affiliate offers that are running in the background, which is, going full circle, why you need to have scalable products and services that don't require your exact touch points. I mean, an online course, for example, this is something that is a tool that you can use your content to drive to, right?
Yeah.
Do you have any recommendations when it comes to driving to a product or service or an offering from your social content? Anything, like any of the happy hustlers who are just starting out, they're like, I don't really know what to create. If I'm creating my social media and I'm driving to something, I'm just not sure. Would you have any advice in that arena?
Yeah. So I had those same questions myself, and it was Brad who got me turned on to video. Really just through a challenge of my manhood, you know. And but when it comes to, like, so I just started shooting everything that we did and putting it out, and your audience will tell you what works and what doesn't. You give a voice to your voices and you listen to
Yeah.
them. You know what I'm saying? So we just paid attention to what worked and what didn't, and we still pay attention to that every single day. It's that there's trends and everything else, and rather than follow trends, I kind of like to set them, you know. But the again, it's for the starters. I would recommend, I think everybody should hire a great team like the team here at the Hitlab, and that's probably one of the most best kept secrets, which is not a compliment, is that people can hire my team to if they can come here and shoot and rent our studios, or that they can upload their stuff to a drive, and our team can go in and edit it and clip it and post it and everything else, right? So, and they do the same thing with podcasts. So that's probably one of the biggest things. But like, before you hire it out, I do think you need to respect the work, because it's not cheap. It's a lot of work, and if you don't understand what you're paying for, you don't respect it a lot. So,
True.
like, everything that the team does for me today, I did it on my own. I was my own cameraman. I was my own editor. Right.
Yeah.
I did all the posting and such. And the reason that I quit posting and doing those things is because it was taking up so much time out of the day. I realized that was taking away from my customers and my business growth.
Yeah, and I will just, shameless plug, like, it is a beautiful studio and your team's legit AF. So I highly recommend, people explore that if they are in the market to, like, level up their content game and really, they want to outsource it. Where can people go to learn more?
So you can see a lot of the HitLab's work on like their Instagram. hitlabstudio.com is the website. The HitLab has a little mastermind too that I host. I bring special guests in once a month.
Oh, cool.
You can register for the one in December at hitlab.studio. And it's a free little mastermind we got, but the seating's very limited. We do that on purpose. But that's where it's a place to serve our clients. It's a place for our clients to network and become affiliate partners. And it's also a place to bring new possible prospects that maybe we want to work with moving forward. But so So, and remind me, I was going off, I might've went off tangent there. What was the
No, you're
question
good.
again?
No, you answered it. Where can people go to learn more about the HitLab,
Yeah.
man?
That's it. Oh, and they could also just shoot me a DM if they're interested in a content package or anything else. Folks, Christmas is where we're shooting today. Christmas is right around the corner. There's New Year's, there's Valentine's Days, all the holidays. You need to market to those things, right?
Yeah.
People pay attention to those things. Those are slam dunks in content creation. So
Yep.
you can just DM me on any of my digital platforms, Instagram or whatever. Just DM me the word content, and I'll get you connected with the HitLab team.
Love it. Yeah, and I mean, I guess the term would be, I don't even know if it's newsjacking with the holidays, but like, those are all reasons to put out content. And it's like, that is the timely stuff that draws attention and helps retain their attention throughout. So it's a great, point within, um, that, that overall concept of content creation is be timely with it, and be very specific with what you're talking about. And check out the HitLab, guys. Man, Nick, this has been phenomenal, brother. I just want to put you through some of our more traditional happy hustle questions and really get into, maybe a little bit more knowledge on Nick, the man, in the rapid fire round. So first, we'll talk about the happy hustle hacks. I know we talked about health, but I always like to ask, what is a happy hustle hack that Nick does, something uniquely Nick potentially that not too many people might do, that is either a tip, a tool, a tactic in the health game?
So the biggest thing that I do now that keeps me in a place of optimization when it comes to health, optimal health, is I'm a big intermittent faster. I eat once a day. I eat in the afternoon. That's it. The rest is supplements, vitamins, nootropics, coffee in the morning, which I love. That's one of my favorite times of the day. But it's, for me, I figured out everybody's different. Everybody's body's 100% unique. For me, the more I was putting in, the worse I performed, the slower I was, the more clouded my mind was. I only need to eat once a day. That's it.
Yeah. And I'm in the same boat. Typically I'm twice a day eating, and, I've decreased my feeding window to about 8 hours, just, lunch and dinner. And yeah, there's a lot of benefits to it. So that's a great recommendation. We talked about money a little bit, but I would like to ask, is there a happy hustle hack when it comes to money? Maybe something that you do that's a little unique to save, invest, or spend wisely that we could deem a happy hustle hack?
Start with the Robert Kiyosaki book, Rich Dad Poor Dad. That's a great place, a foundation to start and build up from. And again, everybody's their lifestyle, all the way down to where they live, it's all different and unique. Certain places it's really expensive to live in, certain places are not. At the end of the day, money is devaluing. Literally, like as we're sitting here, it's getting less and less valuable. So, liquid wise, we carry less. We carry less liquid on a daily basis than we ever have, because it's not growing. It's just sitting there. So we keep most of our stuff tied up in assets on purpose, because those assets are growing. And again, you can get a bunch of tax credits and deductions based on the valuation of things like real estate and everything else. So just, if you're saving money, you might want to rethink that. You know what I mean? If you're going to save it by putting it in assets.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, great wisdom there. Any specific, just one more beat on that, any specific assets that you're really appreciating right now?
The probably one of the most underutilized things is that you can pull money out on is number one would be a HELOC on your equity of your home, or just a life insurance policy. If you structure a life insurance policy right, most people that we come across don't know that you can even do that. They'll have a life insurance policy that's got all this cash value, and they're not taking advantage of some opportunities because they're like, we don't have the cash. I'm like, but you do have the cash, So it's just understanding. Again, money is an asset. Yeah. But an asset's only something if you know how to use it. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
just
sure.
understanding that. So everybody's a little bit different. And, but in the world that like my parents grew up in, and even that I grew up in, It was go to school, go to college, get a job, get a 401k, and retire after a certain amount of years. And when I got out of school, there wasn't enough jobs.
Yeah. Yeah, no, times have changed and inflation's real, and your money just sitting in a bank account is devaluing every single day. So you need to put it in
Absolutely.
cash flowing assets and assets that appreciate. I have a cash value life insurance policy. I know my buddy Garrett Gunderson's got 28 of them. So
Yeah.
he's like a big fan of them, and it's an important
Man,
thing.
the again, if you want to like, one of the fastest way to fast track your success is to study the greats who've done it before you.
Yeah.
Again, what are all the people that have the money? What do they do with it? Where do they invest it? Where do they spend it? Like, I used to think, well, they're them and I'm me, and I'm different, and they do theirs their way, because, dude, we're all the same.
Yeah.
Right? So if it's working for them, understand why it's working for them, and how can you apply that to yourself?
Yeah, exactly. That's awesome words, man. Let's talk about spirituality. I believe in a higher power. I think it's important as a part of being a happy hustler, and just really being holistically happy. You need to have faith in a higher power. I'm just curious, do you have a way that you tap into a higher power? Anything specific maybe that's a little unique to connect, that we could deem a happy hustle hack in this arena?
Life's hard. All right. Life hits hard. You got to be able to take really tough punches, and you got to be resilient and get up and keep on taking them and keep moving forward. So for me, faith is a huge part of our journey. As a matter of fact, my confidence comes from my faith, right? So the more I feed my faith, the more I'm feeding everything else, the more I'm feeding my service to others. So, and I look at, like, my wife and I, it's tough during my son's baseball season from time to time, but even then we still have our Sabbath. But, for me, church is just a time every Sunday I'm going there to literally refill the tank, because I'm going to burn every ounce of fuel in that tank the next week. You know what I mean? It's hard, and I'm going out there to win. Every day I'm chasing things. Well, I think if you chase things, they run from you. Every day I'm seeking things seeking growth and things that I've never done before. And that takes a lot of confidence, and confidence is basically what you believe, and you only change your beliefs by getting new information. So reading a lot, I get a lot, again, going there and getting fed what I believe in for our faith, to feed our faith, and taking whatever the pastor's saying and really figuring out, like, how do I make it where he's speaking directly to me? And how do I take what he said and apply it right now to what's coming up in the life? Because that's why I went there. I feel like God's speaking to me in that moment.
Yeah. Ooh, some gold right there. If you chase things, they might run from you. That's interesting. I like that. You seek.
Pitbull said that. He said, if you're chasing money, you're never going to find it. It's always running from you, right? So you want to attract it.
Oh, that is true. Yeah. Good old Pitbull. Yeah. Let's talk about, well, honestly, I don't usually ask about happy hustle hacks for your family, but I want to for you, just, and specifically your relationship with your wife. Anything you do with your wife to just really foster that love that we could deem a happy hustle hack here?
Yeah, we are very clear. We communicate about what our relationship means to us. And it's very important that we're going in the same direction to the same destination together.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a relationship, and all relationships require work, and we work extremely hard at ours. And my wife is an amazing person. And I still don't know to this day why I'm so lucky that she chose me. You know what I mean? I still, confidence is a big thing. And anywhere else I go, I feel like I should be there. I feel like I deserve to be there. I feel like I've earned it. But when I walk in my own house, I don't. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful.
I love that.
And man, like, she's freaking awesome. And I'm more attracted to her spiritually, physically, all those things than I ever have been. And that's only growing. So again, we go through tough times, but it's making time to creating time to make time, basically. Like, we sit down, we're very intentional. Like, are we getting enough time with our kids as a unit? Are her and I getting enough personal time together on those things? Like, I don't have shows that I watch at night. I enjoy her shows if we're watching television. at the end of the night or something like that, So it's just about, I would say it's a lot of compromise, but compromise seems like you're giving a lot, which everybody needs to give, but I'm getting so much more than we ever give. So again, people just grow apart.
Yeah.
Well, how do you can also grow together.
Yeah. Yeah, man. That's beautiful to hear. And, and I know a lot of people out there, like, this is a pain point, especially for entrepreneurs. You and I both know a bunch of people who have a lot of money, but their wife doesn't love them, or their husband doesn't love them or like them. Maybe they love them, but they don't like them. And then their kids don't know them, and it's sad. So I'm really glad that you, explained it how you did. And hopefully people can, emulate that. Man, this has been phenomenal. Let's put you through the rapid fire round, then we're going to wrap this bad boy up. So this is just where I ask you random things and you answer honestly. First thing that comes to mind. Are you ready?
Got it. I'm ready.
All right, let's go. Favorite food?
Favorite food? Oh man, steak.
Favorite movie?
Favorite movie? Ooh, that's a good one. Favorite movie? I'm gonna go with Back to the Future.
Favorite book?
Favorite book? Rich Dad Poor Dad.
What's your spirit animal?
Spirit animal. I'm gonna borrow Brad's, a rhinoceros, because they're unstoppable.
Nice. Best business advice?
Best business advice is, if you have to see it to believe it, you'll never get it. You have to believe it to see it, right? So business is an offensive sport. Be on the offense.
3 things you're most grateful for?
Waking up today, my family, and all of the opportunities that God continues to put in front of me, because He knows. I'm most grateful that God trusts me to handle the tough things in life.
Love that. And if you had a billboard for the world to see with your last piece of content on it, what's that board read?
Exactly what's behind me on this thing, breaking down the playbook of others, of top performers, so that you can get to that next level too.
Crush that rapid fire round, Nick. And brother, I just want to take a moment to acknowledge you, man, for sharing your love, your light, your wisdom, your unapologetic self, your actual ability to break down, complex, things, truly, like from merchant processing to social media to building trust to your family and the relationship with your wife. I appreciate how you break down, these complex topics and assimilate them into knowledge that we can retain and acquire. So thank you. And just appreciate your friendship, man. Just looking forward to collabing with you more and more. So thank you, bro.
No doubt. The last thing I would leave everybody with, Carrie, is, especially when it comes to advertising your business, social media, or anything else, like everything that we do is already being done. Like, the biggest companies advertise on television, they advertise on radio, they advertise in print and on billboards and everything else. Nothing we're doing is new, but most people are not aware that, like, just start with the businesses that you frequent the most. Why do you frequent those? And then how do you become that for others with your own business? So it's just taking your own personal experiences as to why you do things and love things and so on and so forth, and applying those to your own business for others. So, like, again, it's not, everybody that's great has solid process or framework, right? So, and that's the happy hustle. Like, we went through that on my podcast, bro. Your framework is freaking top notch. That's the sign of a winner. If you want to know what winning, like, if you don't have process and framework from start to finish that's clearly defined and detailed, it's going to be a tough journey. So, break it down, those steps. Carrie, how many people would finish school if they didn't know what grade they were in? They're going 13 years.
Yeah.
You've been there 7, and you're like, dude, I don't know if I'm ever getting out of here. How many people would quit?
Yeah.
So
true.
Just understanding where you're at in your journey. Your process is fantastic. Your framework, I love it. The calendar's literally in the next room right over here that you left here, and on the fridge in there. I love it.
Oh man. Well, thank you, bro. I appreciate that. I received that. And yeah, check out the Hitstreak, guys. Where else can people go to learn more about you? Give them some links online.
So nickhaider.com has access to everything, but all of my social media is my name, at Nick Haider. And then obviously Hitlab is, you can, for the mastermind, it's hitlab.studio, hitlabstudio.com for the Hitlab's website. Everything else, whether it be insurance or merchant processing or anything else, is all on nickhaider.com. You can find it right there.
Perfect. Check it out, guys. And Nick, brother, final question, man. What does happy hustling mean to you?
It's clearly defining what you do and why you do it, right? Because then you're going to get to hang out with the people that you're supposed to be with. And it's all about the relationships. Baseball for me was all about the teammate. Business is all about the relationship or the partner, right? So it's these things right here. That's the happy hustle for me. It's this exact podcast right now.
Love that. Mic drop, y'all. Nick Haider, thank you all for watching and listening. We are out. Peace and love, everyone.